when you're ready.
Good morning. Today we will be discussing the migrant crisis. I am arguing for the motion that they should come to the country. They will benefit us by increasing our economy and starting businesses. They will also be able to do the jobs that we don't want to, because they are very hard-working. It will increase our global reputation by bringing them in. And it is also our moral obligation to do it, because they are human citizens, so they deserve the same chances as us. They have also fled from a country in war, so we need to help them to save their lives. Question?
What businesses could they work in?
They could work in, well, the ones that we don't want to do, so...
What would they be?
Like the bin, and because no one really wants to do that, and they're very hardworking and will do anything to earn money. So.
Do you think it's right for basically the police to use gas on young children at the borders? Because the police from the UK are using gas on young children.
No, I don't think that is right.
I will open my statement. I am against the statement, and I will prove to you that migrants are dangerous and unpredictable. I will also show you, all of you, how you will not be able to benefit from the migrants coming to this proud and independent country. As I'm sure you've all noticed, the tension on the borders is getting extremely serious. Extremely serious. The migrants are dangerous. The migrants are unlawful. The migrants are troublemakers. I'm sure you're all aware that migrants have pushed down barbed wire fences around the Hungary border, haven't you? And that was just with their bare hands. Bare hands. And that's just in Hungary. What's going to happen on the other side of Europe? Just imagine what they could do in the UK once they have possible access to harmful weapons and even firearms. There could be anarchy. The IS have been a huge reason for Syrians fleeing their homeland. By the end of August 2014, the UN estimated 6.5 million had been displaced by the IS, with at least a quarter of them coming to the UK. That's just under 2 million people coming into Europe. We simply don't have the space. And as I said earlier, I will reiterate the fact that the IS have been the main reason and responsibility for the Syrians fleeing their homeland. What is stopping even a couple of terrorists coming into this glorious country with the tidal wave of people? What will you say when your child says, "Daddy, what did you do to stop the terrorists?" And all you'll be able to say when you support the motion is nothing. Any questions?
You say that the Syrian people are fleeing their country because of ISIS. Surely if they're terrorists, they'd be part of ISIS and not fleeing their country.
Not all the Syrians are terrorists.
Well, you make them sound like they are, and they're troublemakers, but they're pushing down barbed wire just because they're desperate, not because they're troublemakers.
If the Syrians waited their turn, they'd make it, but they just have to be patient and wait. But it's giving them a reputation of being unlawful and irresponsible if they just can't wait.
What damage do you think they could do in Europe?
It's really unpredictable. It could be from little as graffiti or stuff like that to destroying vandalism, destroying buildings, and even murder.
Well, Callum, these people, they have made a long journey. They are tired, hungry, frightened and desperate. Do you think it's right to shut them out and, even worse, use tear gas on them, even young children?
We're not shutting them out. We're keeping them in line. We've even set up camps outside Hungarian borders to make sure these people are safe. Germany, if you are accepting 500,000 each year of migrants to come into their country. I think, tell me that isn't unfair.
Well, I think it's right for all of us to make a contribution towards this migrant crisis. We have to let these people in.
We are, and as David Cameron said, I believe around 20,000 in the next 5 years, and I think that's fair enough for our land to person ratio. Thank you.
I believe Britain should accept more political refugees. We were all shocked and horrified by scenes of violence and carnage in Syria. This has escalated into people fleeing their country. As you may know, Bob Geldof criticised our government for not showing compassion. He said that he would give home to 4 families after seeing what is happening in Syria. Could you live your life knowing that you could die any second whilst going to school, whilst going to bed, whilst going out with your friends? You may not even have a school because it has been destroyed. Over 320,000 Syrians have died since the civil war broke out and still are dying whilst I speak.
Kareem, do you believe that it is right for the refugees who are fleeing death and persecution to give the traffickers up to £3,000 for a boat to cross the Mediterranean?
No, I do not think it is right at all. But by taking in these refugees, people will come in legally instead of illegally, which is good.
Queen, do you think will Britain be able to school all these children coming in?
Well, even if we can't provide most of them schools, at least these people will be alive, which is really good.
Kareem, you just come up with the point that these people won't be able to go to school. And, well, as you said, some of them might not be able to go to school. Where does that leave them in the future? That's going to leave them on the streets alone with no one else possibly to care for them. Because at least just under 1% of the deficit is being used. I don't think we'll be able to use much more on the migrants to help them with their benefits.
Well, at least these people are alive. Would you want these people to die?
But what are they living for if they're on their own on the streets?
Well, obviously they can basically have a home school. They can be educated.
Once the Syrian crisis is over, won't they just want to stay in England? They won't want to go back because their life will be much enriched here than it is over there.
Well, that's basically a future topic to discuss because, well, they can go back and that's an option. But for the time being, they should stay in England as it is dangerous in Syria.
I am not against taking migrants, but letting thousands die at sea just so Germany can reach 500,000 migrants per year for their global reputation is not acceptable. Britain has spent the most money on the refugees for the camps and supplies, and I believe we should do as David Cameron says and take the migrants straight from the camps, not only for them to stop paying the traffickers to get to Germany, but in addition this will split the political migrants from the economic migrants if we take them directly from the camps. This is much more a mature and organised idea than to have 3-year-olds wash upon our shores. If you stick to the ideology of letting them cross over to Germany from the Mediterranean Sea, this will let many thousands die just for making the journey.
How do you think the government, can tell the difference between political and economic refugees?
Well, by asking them, you're not going to get many answers, but if the ones who are in the camps are mostly fleeing from persecution, but there's many economic migrants who are just going straight directly to Germany because they need the money.
Okay.
Well, Marcus, won't this take a lot of money to take them straight from the camps? Won't this cost a lot of money?
Yeah, it will cost a lot of money, and it will cost everyone to form a coalition to help them. But it's better to spend money than to spend lives.
How would we get the money to move them all?
We'd have to What can you ask the question again? Sorry.
How would we get the money to move them all from the camps?
Well, as I said, everyone would have to help each other in making the money up, instead of just one country just doing it. So that includes Hungary as well, in being more responsive to it, instead of being aggressive towards them.
I'm now going to make a point for why they should be allowed in. If we look back at the tragic events since the start of 2015, we have seen 71 people, including children, being frozen alive in the back of a truck. We have seen a 3-year-old boy washed up on the beach of Turkey. And on average, 6 people are dying every day trying to get into Europe. According to the BBC, 481,000 people have made the journey so far. They've left their families, their friends, and they've risked their lives and their children's lives. All they want is a better life. They don't want to take British people's money, they just want a better life. We are lucky enough to be sitting here today, warm, with our friends, getting education, with food, with water. These people don't have any of those things. They just have fear and a small bit of hope. We need to help these people. If we're not sitting here today, we could have well been in their shoes, and we would want people to help us.
Ollie, if we let them stay here, and they might want, isn't it better to teach them how to fish than to give them fish every morning?
It is, but we've got to solve the problem first, and then try to make the problem better. Because if we just, what we're doing is we keep playing around with ideas that could work, and all the time that we're wasting, people are dying, and we can't let that happen.
Ollie, I have a question. How has I know there's also a semi-big event about the 71 people, but how has one 3-year-old boy changed the world's opinion of this?
Well, if we look at this 3-year-old boy, we may have brothers or sisters who are also of that age or older. And if we saw them washed up on the beach in a tourist destination because they've been so desperate to try and make a journey for a better life, we'd have to help them. And it's not just that 3-year-old boy. There have also been many other incidents that have happened, and it just hasn't been on telly or on the news, and we just haven't seen it. Because there's thousands of incidents happening that we can't see.
Do you think there are other 3-year-old boys washed up all along the coast?
Well, no, but there's also other incidents where people are dying because of many different things. They're getting trapped in barbed wire, they've been shot, they've been gassed.